Woof.
Okay, so here's the second of two new dev blogs we're going over today. This is regarding new ships in closed test 13.3. They are saying, World of Warships is saying, two new ships will be entering testing, a fiery Pan-Asian cruiser and a fierce American destroyer with a fighting reputation. And I already know what that is because I heard somebody mention the Johnston, and we've been waiting to get this in game. Hello, Mr. Yi. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, so Pan-Asian cruiser at tier 10. Incheon. I see two dual turrets in the front. I can't tell if there's one or two in the back. So this is either a 6 or an 8 gun cruiser, and those look like pretty good sized guns. Those have to be at least 203s. So this will be a Pan-Asian heavy cruiser, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. An alternative design for a heavy cruiser equipped with rapid firing artillery, developed in the United States in the 1940s. Had she been implemented in metal? Oh, so the ship was paper. Okay, I get it now. The ship could have joined the Royal or the Republic of Korea Navy in the 1950s. She was named after the city of Incheon, one of the most important ports in the country. So nice. Hey, Kinetic. Good to see you too. So, blending characteristics from both USN heavy cruisers and Pan-Asian cruisers, artillery enthusiasts are sure to enjoy Incheon. Her main battery of 4 twin 203 millimeter auto-loading turrets gives her excellent damage output with both high-pin HE shells and AP shells with improved ricochet angles. So this is already starting to remind me a little bit of the Tier 10 Russian light cruiser, as they call it, which I think it has, 180s. So this is looking like something like that. And perhaps these are going to be Des Moines guns. I don't know, but we'll see. So improved AP ricochet angles. Her concealment and short cooldown Pan-Asian smoke generator will allow aggressive play, create her own cover, while access to deep water torpedoes and a torpedo reload booster. So she gets the Irian treatment, so to speak. So that's interesting. With similar characteristics those found on Jinan. So this is a heavy Jinan. Great. Will help deter enemies from getting too close. However, the low number of tubes will make these more of a supplement. So low number of tubes. I think I see the tube is in the side. I think it looks like it's mounted in the side of the near the back turrets, which means it'll probably have limited angles as well. So okay, I bet it's got like 2 triple launchers or something like that on it, or 2 quadruple at the most, one on either side. So what else does this thing have? So basically, a heavier. I'm sure it's got to be armored better than Jinan. So it's a heavy Jinan with less torpedoes and possibly Des Moines guns. That's speculation hat stuff. So what else? So Incheon shares typical weaknesses with those of her Tech Tree sisters: lack of hydro, no surveillance radar, poor ballistics, short range, and bad turret angles. Great. So short range and bad turret angles. That means, well, you better hope they're firing fast, because you're only going to be getting 4 guns on target most of the time. In gameplay, captains will still want to use the concealment and smoke generator to take good positions. So it'll be interesting to see what the smoke firing penalty is for the thing. Enemy battleships will be the primary target, but with spotting support from her teammates, Incheon may also engage in favorable trades with enemy cruisers, destroyers. Beware of finding yourself alone Make sure to keep an eye on enemy radar ships, because you may be in severe danger of being sunk if you get radared. Well, no crap. The permanent camo is still a work in process, so they're just showing you the plain ship there. Well, they do give us stats on this one, so let's see. You got 48,600 health, which is okay. 25 millimeter plating, so that's not as good as Des Moines. Definitely not as good as Des Moines. A 30-second fire duration, so you do get cruiser fire duration. So let's see, we got 16 kilometers is not, well, a 16 kilometer range is better than Des Moines. You get 4x2. Let's see what kind of fire rate. 14% fire chance, blah, blah. A reload time of 6 seconds. I think Des Moines is a base of 5.5, so it's basically an 8-gun Des Moines with 6-second reload is what I'm getting out of this. That's what I'm personally getting out of it. Then you have airstrikes. So they're right. They basically combined these ships, you know, so they watered down the Des Moines armor just a little bit, it looks like, and some different things. But definitely interesting. Airstrike, we're not worried about. Yeah, okay, so torpedo tubes were 2x4. So my second guess was right. So you still got good damage. You got 13.5 kilometer range, but instead of being able to dump like 10 torpedoes off each side like you can with Jinan, you can only dump 4. But you do have a TRB, so you can do that thing where you dump torps off one side, you dump them off the other, hit your booster, dump another rack of torps, and then wiggle and dump another rack. So you can put 16 torps in the water. Now the question is, what's the torp tube angle is going to be like? It didn't look like it's going to be all that great based on it being mounted in the side of the hull like that, if that's what I was indeed seeing. What else we got? Secondaries, not a big deal. How's the AA look? Not that it matters, but how does it look? Short, mid, long range. 5 explosions in a salvo. Not horrible. Speed is mediocre. 33 knots. Turning circle. 800 meters is not horrible for a tier 10 cruiser. I won't call it elite, but it's not horrible. What else do we have? Concealment of 13.8. So that gets you to what? About 11.2, right in that range-ish. And detectability after firing guns and smoke, 8.5 kilometers. So you do have to keep your distance. Interesting. And let's look at consumables. Damage control, smoke generator. It's Pan-Asian smoke. Good stuff. Defensive AA. There's your TRB. You only get 2 charges of that. And a repair party that's going to heal what? 28 seconds at 243. So somewhere around 7,000 health, roughly. About 7. So that'd be right. I think it's probably a 14% heal, which is pretty common. Okay. Here's the ship a lot of people have been waiting on, folks. American Destroyer Johnston. So just what we need, another Fletcher class DD in the game. But there's lots of cool historical ones, so what can you say? American Destroyer Johnston at Tier 9. They are going to put it Tier 9. Fletcher class that commenced her naval service in October 43. Named after Lieutenant John W. Johnston, who was a distinguished American Civil War hero. Engaged in numerous military campaigns in Pacific. Met her demise shrouded in glory during a fierce confrontation with a Japanese squadron under the command of battleship Yamamoto during the Battle off Samar on October 25th, 1944. But they're saying Johnston isn't just another Fletcher, reflecting her fierce spirit. I say if you're going to put Johnston in the game, it's going to have a little something, something. Whatever that happens to be, whether it be like a super heal or something. It's going to have something. So let's see what they gave it. Johnston's main battery of 527 millimeter guns will be supplemented with a burst fire mode and SAP shells. Combined with good concealment, these will make her extremely deadly in short engagements with enemy destroyers. Burst fire is somewhat unique in that Johnston will actually put out more damage per minute in this mode than firing normally. Captains will want to make sure they hit their first shots, which may be a challenge considering her typically bad ballistics. Okay, backing up her main battery is the expected load of 10 torpedoes, characteristics similar to gearings that will punch out to extreme range, albeit on a very long reload. So it sounds like they're putting gearing torps. So is this thing going to have the 16.5 kilometer torps that gearing has? Or they might be 15. Yeah, yes, Esdian, this will be a premium for sure. So what else? Engine boost, defensive AA, which you have to choose between those, which makes sense. In terms of playstyle, Johnston will favor getting up close and personal with enemy destroyers and making quick work of them with SAP and burst fire. Aim will be key. If a burst is missed, your damage output will suffer, so captains may wish. So this is going to be one of those things, if you sneak up and spot an enemy DD and funny button them, it's not going to be a pleasant day for that DD. Long duration American smoke generator, long range torpedoes, good damage output. And as they always say, caution must be exercised when dealing with surveillance. Enemy surveillance radar will know crap, folks. Any DD player should know that. The model for Johnston is still in development, so they're using another ship, Frank Friday, with settings identical to Johnston. Okay. So ship stats. Let's check this thing out. I am curious to compare this to a Fletcher. So I'm going to bring up Ship Tool on my other screen here. You won't be able to see this, but I'm going to bring up the Fletcher because I just want to see how this thing compares. So health, same thing as the Fletcher. Plating is the same. 5 guns is the same. Let's look at the main battery. Firing range. Where is the firing range? 12.5 kilometers. That's actually 400 meters less than Fletcher. Let's see what else. 1,825 on the shells. Oh, that's SAP though. How about the HE? 1,800. Same HE shells. The SAP shells are going to do more damage than the Fletcher's AP do. I can tell you that. Blah, blah, blah. 5% fire chance. That's all the same. 4.5 second reload. Now, compared to the Fletcher's 3.3, that's a bit worse. So from a HE perspective, much worse than you're better off with a Fletcher, I believe. Although you can, again, you can burst fire, but we got to look and see what kind of burst we're talking about. Yeah, you got 36 millimeter SAP armor penetration. So that's nasty for bows and sterns of even tier 9 and 10 battleships. All right. So we said 4.5 second reload. All right. Burst fire. Reload time 9 seconds. So it doubles your reload. Burst interval. So you get 3 shots at 1.4 seconds. So basically you can put out, if I'm understanding that correctly, you can put out 3 shots in under 3 seconds, basically. So 15 shells in under 3 seconds. And man, if you're talking about SAP with a 2500 alpha and you're putting out 15 of those, that's like, 37,500 SAP alpha in 3 seconds. That's going to ruin a lot of DD's days. What else do we have? Depth charges. Not worried about that. Torpedo tubes, 2x5. Let's see how the torpedoes compare. So they're 13.5 kilometers. So these are not, they're not Fletcher. They're not gearing, they're in between. I think gearing 16.5. So these are in between. 66 knot speed. That is, how is that? Same speed as the Fletcher torps. Reload. What's detectability? 1.4. That's the same as Fletcher. Reload of 170 seconds, which is what? Yeah, Fletcher is 106. So that's a lot worse. That's 64 seconds. That's, like more than 60% worse than the Fletcher. So yeah, you get that extra range, 13.5 instead of 10.5, but you're gonna have to wait on them. Okay, they don't do quite as much damage as the Fletcher either. The Fletcher does 19,033, so they're a little bit less on that as well. So interesting. Far as AA, we don't go into that very deep because we all know that AA is mostly a light show in this game. Speed of 36.5 knots. How does that pan out? That is the same as Fletcher. 560 turning radius, same as Fletcher. 3-second rudder shift, same as Fletcher. Concealment. This one I'm interested in seeing. Concealment 7.2, which is basically the same as Fletcher, which is 7.16. You might as well call it the same thing. I don't think 40 meters makes any difference. So call it 7.2. So I think Fletcher gets down to what, 5.9 or something like that. So that'll be, yeah, I think you get down to 5.9 with that. Maybe 5.8, but I think it's 5.9. One of the two in any case. So same concealment basically as Fletcher. So you get your damage control, smoke generator, engine boost, and defensive AA, and you have to choose between those. So there you go. Very interesting. So basically, you have to give up some DPM or fire rate on your guns to get the SAP shells, but you do get that burst rate, which is going to be horrid, just painful against enemy DDs. Painful to the recipient, I should say. You get longer range torps. You have to sacrifice a little bit of damage to get those. That's, other than that, it's a Fletcher. It is a Fletcher. So that's it. So recapping that real quick, American Destroyer Johnston Fletcher class coming to the game. Finally, about time. Gets the burst fire and SAP as her gimmick. And also the new Pan-Asian cruiser Incheon is coming in, which will be, I believe, a good assessment I saw in chat was a variant on the Des Moines, an 8-gun, kind of like an 8-gun Des Moines with some Pan-Asian characteristics, especially with regards to torps. So that's going to be two interesting ships there, folks. So, okay, we're done going over that. It is Wonky Wednesday. We need to grind boats on the alternate account. So let's get out to World of Warships and go ahead and do that. Thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want to see notifications of future videos, just ring the bell. Until next time, Tater Dawg says, woof.